Welcome to Global Med Talks, the podcast where we embark on a journey through the world of medicine and beyond. I'm your host, Haider Ali, and I'm excited to be a guide as we explore a diverse range of topics, from sharing personal experiences to diving into medical stigmas, controversies, and beyond. In some episodes, I'll try to bring on guest speakers, I'll try to dissect hot button issues, and share practical tips for navigating both medical school and life. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's episode is packed with practical tips to help you thrive in medical school. Everyone talks about how we should try hard to succeed in university no matter what you're studying, but not many people actually know how to go about it despite there being so much information about it already. So today I decided to cover my top 10 tips to succeed. So hopefully you learn a thing or two or even use this as a reminder as to what can be done. And honestly, it's a reminder to myself too. I've covered tips from staying organized to maintaining a healthy balance between life and studies and much more. So before I recorded this, I brainstormed some tips for you guys, and honestly, there was just too much to cover because everything plays a massive part in order for you to really make the most out of being a successful student. So after a lot of thought, I've tried to crunch it all down to what I think are the top best tips that are very important for your success. So without further ado, let's get started. The number one tip, hands down, is staying organized. Medical school is overwhelming with constant deadlines, exams, assignments, so it's impossible to keep track of everything in your head. Unless you're a robot that can handle like 20 tasks at once, you're gonna struggle if you have no organization. You think you'll be fine, but when the work piles up, you're gonna be wishing that you'd stayed organized earlier on. And with medicine, you'll have so many things going on at the same time, and if you're not organized, then you're gonna find yourself having to deal with that extra stress of trying to stay on top of things, which is not pleasant at all. So if you can avoid them, then I really advise that you do. So using a planner or an app is so important. Personally, I love using apps like Notion or Google Calendar to block out my study sessions and schedule deadlines and set reminders for important dates. It doesn't even have to be something really technical like that. Just make sure you can access your notes for each subject with ease and keep them all separate. It honestly makes me laugh when I see people use the same notebook for every subject and it's just a complete mess. It's not helpful at all. And those are the guys that usually either fail in the end, hate medical school, always complaining about the stress that they put themselves in. So organizing will avoid all of that, trust me. Have separate books, folders, and keep each topic separate too, and easily accessible. And that's the best thing about Notion. And now they have this new AI feature too, where you can literally search anything in your notes across all folders and it will show you where it is and it take you right to where you wrote it. And you can even ask questions and it will answer it based on the notes that you made. And trust me, it's a game changer because with medicine, everything links together. Linking anatomy with physiology, then linking it with like any clinical skills knowledge that you might have learned. So it's good for fast access, and so therefore it will help you have a better understanding in each subject, which will help you go very far in medical school. Now here's a secret. Treat organization like an investment. The more effort you put into planning upfront, the less stressed you'll be when exam time comes. And trust me, you'll thank yourself for it. Right, so on to the next tip. Tip number 2. Prepare for exams early. Look, cramming may have worked for you in high school, in A-levels or GCSEs or whatever exams that you might have done when you were younger, but in medical school, it's a recipe for disaster. I don't know how else to put this. There's just too much material. Don't get yourself into this problem where you find yourself cramming everything at the last minute because A, it's not going to work. You're not going to get those top marks that you hoped for, and B, you're just going to forget everything as soon as the exam finishes or even during the exam, and it's just not a sustainable way to go through any endeavor. So by actively adopting ways to avoid this would be very beneficial. Start reviewing materials well in advance, and if you can, create a study schedule that breaks down what you'll cover each week. This will reduce the need for those painful like all-nighters that you do, and it will help you retain information for the long term as well. And if you're consistent, you won't just be prepared, you'll be confident going into exams, and that's a huge win. Tip number 3, ask for help. Don't hesitate to reach out to professors, mentors, or peers if you're struggling. This is especially true when it comes to like complex medical concepts or challenging clinical scenarios. I know a lot of people who get stuck in this trap of trying to deal with everything themselves. And although independency is a good asset to have, there are times where support may be needed, and deflecting that need can ultimately do more harm than good, because by trying to barrel through the difficulty beyond that you can bear yourself will more often than not like lead to burnout, and you might end up in this like downwards negative spiral, and you start to experience this domino effect where everything else starts to seem a lot harder as a consequence. So sometimes it's better to know your limits and put your ego aside. And I'm especially talking to the medical students here because, in my experience, I've seen some people with really huge egos and they see themselves as some sort of special being that never wants to seem like they need help. But put your ego and pride aside. It's better to embrace the difficult moments and reach out your hand rather than keeping your hands to yourself and end up drowning. We often think we need to figure everything out on our own, but the truth is, no one gets through medical school alone. Whether it's clarification on a tough topic, advice on time management, or emotional support, the help is there. All you need to do is ask. And for the person who is being asked for help, don't belittle them or see them as someone inferior to you, which is a major problem in of itself. We're all equals. No one is better than the other. Help each other, teach each other, and be there for each other, because at the end of the day, it'll benefit you and them. Remember, your professors and your mentors and your doctors have been through this journey before, and they are there to guide you. Additionally, your peers can offer valuable insights and support as they're facing similar challenges, so don't let pride or fear hold you back from seeking the assistance that you need to succeed. Tip number 4 is all about setting goals. Set daily goals every day. Not setting daily goals can be detrimental to your progress in medical school. Without clear objectives, you may find yourself feeling overwhelmed and kind of directionless. And this can lead to a procrastination, which I know a lot of students have suffered from, myself included, and it makes sense because the lack of structure makes it easier to put off important tasks. And also, without daily goals, you might struggle to prioritize your workload effectively, and that can lead to last minute cramming sessions, increased stress, and lower academic performance. It can also make it challenging to track your progress, leaving you uncertain about whether you're keeping up with the demanding pace of medical education. So, break your tasks into manageable parts and tackle them one at a time instead of trying to study 5 different subjects in one day. Pick like 2 or 3 key topics and just focus on them. Just take it day by day, and trust me, you'll get there. And the sense of accomplishment that you get from ticking off like these small tasks will keep you motivated and on track. Plus, it's much easier to retain information when you're not overwhelming yourself with too much at once. Tip number 5 is crucial. Attend every class. Now, it might seem tempting to skip lectures, especially when you're overwhelmed with studying, but attending classes consistently is vital for success in medical school. Not only does it help you stay on top of the material, but it also allows you to engage with professors and classmates, and you get to ask questions in real time, and you pick up on important cues about what might be on the exams. You may think you could revise or study better at home, but This is the way I see it. Associating memories and a time and a place when learning some concepts, especially the difficult ones, can help you remember it better. For example, assuming you always sit in a specific room at home when studying and you're using the same studying technique for everything, when it comes to exams, sometimes you may jumble up all the information or you might find it hard to recall certain information. And of course, there are going to be some people who are going to say, well, not for me, I implement active recall and avoid this trouble. But for most people, it's not as effective as going to class, getting exposed to the material one more time than everyone else who don't attend class and who associate memories with a concept. For example, you'll remember a specific time where the teacher described a concept in a particular way. She might have drawn something on the board, she might have showed you a video that you liked or used an analogy that you and your classmates found quite funny. And these memories will give you an upper hand when trying to remember certain things when you're in the exam hall. Plus, many medical schools have strict attendance policies anyway, so showing up regularly can directly impact your grades and standing in the program. For example, in my university, we have these oral exams every other week, or even every week for each subject, and the questions that the doctors ask directly link to what they said or highlighted in the lecture. So attending their lectures can definitely give you an idea on what to focus more or less on. Tip number 6 is one of my favorites. Use travel time wisely. If you're commuting or walking to class, use that time to listen to medical podcasts, audiobooks, listen to global med talks, or review materials by going through flashcards or going through a specific part of a lecture that you didn't quite really fully understand. It's an easy way to absorb information while doing something boring, like traveling. But everyone knows that active recall has scientifically been proven to increase test scores, so implementing some sort of recall activity into your daily life is a wise step to take. So use flashcards when you're on the bus or something. That has worked for me. I mean, I find it tedious and I feel like I'm wasting my time, even though I'm not, when it comes to reviewing topics that I feel like I already know. So that's why I try to review them when I'm on the bus or the train or out on a walk or when I'm going to uni or something. It saves so much time and it'll definitely help when trying to retain a lot of information, especially during exam season. And trust me, every little bit counts and you'll be amazed at how much you can learn on the go. Now let's talk about self-care, which is tip number 7. In a nutshell, you can't take care of patients if you're not taking care of yourself. That means you gotta be focusing on a healthy, balanced diet, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep, especially sleep. Now, this doesn't mean sleep during your class, in case you're getting excited. Get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, sleep early, get up early. That is so much more better than sleeping at 3 or 4 a.m. and having to wake up for a 9 a.m. lecture and feeling groggy the whole day, because it's just not a smart way to go about your uni life. So don't brush your mental health aside. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious, it's okay to seek help, whether it's talking to a counselor or taking a mental health day. Just make sure you prioritize your well-being. And I know it sounds cliche, but you are your most important patient right now. Moving on to tip number 8. Find a study strategy that works for you. I'll just briefly touch on this one now because I am planning to make a whole separate episode for this. Some people love flashcards, others prefer group study sessions, and some rely on online lectures or videos. The key is to experiment with different strategies and figure out what clicks for you. Once you find your groove, stick with it. And don't feel pressured to study a certain way just because everyone else is. There's a lot of different techniques out there already, which I'll go into on a later day. Find what works for you or best suited for your personality type. For example, if you're an introvert like myself, where you find energy in the inner world of ideas, concepts, and abstractions, you may find it helpful to learn by developing connections and relationships between different topics. Whereas if you're an extrovert, where you find energy in things and people and prefer interaction with others, you may find it helpful to learn by explaining to others or learning in groups. And lastly, ask yourself the question, are you a kinesthetic, auditory, or a linguistic learner? So if you know which type works best for you, then you can implement that type into your studying methods, and that could greatly benefit you in reaching those top grades. So it's definitely worth looking into. Tip number 9, network. Building a strong support system is actually more important than you think, especially in medical school. Start by finding a mentor, someone who's been through the journey and can guide you with advice and encouragement. This could be someone in a higher year, or a teacher, or a doctor that you met on rotations. They can help guide you and hold you accountable when you're not making the necessary steps towards your goal. Attend conferences and workshops to not only learn but also connect with professionals in your field. And don't forget to build relationships with your peers. They're going through the same struggles and they will be your biggest support system. And most conferences also have students who showcase their researches that they've been working on. So talk to them, ask them questions, and ask them about their chosen topic, and ask how they got into that, and if they have any tips and tricks for you, if you're interested, of course. But doing this could definitely open a lot of doors for you. Also, join medical societies or interest groups. I'm pretty sure every university has them now. They can provide you with valuable opportunities to grow and learn outside the classroom. Plus, it's a great way to stay updated with the latest developments in medicine and even make friends. And you never know, you may even find your life partner, so why not? Last but not least, tip number 10, balance and social life. Now, medical school can feel like it's taken over your entire life, but it's essential to maintain a balance. Keep up with your hobbies, whether it's playing an instrument, hiking, or painting, or going to the gym, football, or anything. Just something that allows you to unwind and disconnect from studies. Stay connected with friends and family, because they are going to be a rock during these tough times. And remember, it's okay to say no when you're feeling overwhelmed. Don't overcommit yourself. Medical school is just a phase, and while it's intense, it's important to keep perspective. Just focus on your long-term goals and don't lose sight of the bigger picture. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 tips for surviving and thriving in medical school. To recap, stay organized, prepare early for exams, don't hesitate to ask for help, set daily goals, attend every class, use travel time wisely, prioritize self-care, find a study strategy that works for you, build a strong network, and most importantly, maintain balance in your life. And always remember, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Now, this quote by Winston Churchill perfectly encapsulates that medical school journey. So keep pushing forward, stay resilient, and your hard work will pay off. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to reach out to me on social media or drop an email. Stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, keep exploring the world around you. This is Heda Ali signing off.